Now, another story heavily discussed online today is the influence of Twitter. The number of people using the social networking site has grown by 900% over the last 12 months. Last night, it was named Breakout Site of the Year at the Webby Awards. Well, now a new survey has revealed the world's 200 most influential Twitterers. Joining us in the studio is our Twitter correspondent, Ruth Barnett. Welcome again, Ruth. And in our central London studios, Jonny Bentwood, the man who compiled the list for jcpr.com. Now, how did you make Jonathan Ross get to number one?
Well, what we think is important is that we shouldn't just be looking at popularity. Most of the lists just look at how many people follow you. But what we believe is important is influence, and that is by looking at the amounts of people you actually engage with and whether they find you interesting. And we created an algorithm that does this, and by using that algorithm, we created a list of the top 200 celebrity Twitterers.
Well, now you talked about the algorithm. We're going to show our audience now, because let me just show you what this algorithm is. It's a rather daunting bit of mathematics. Try and explain it to us, if you will, as we're now revealing it in all its glory.
There's lots of different ways how you can look at Twitter, from the number of people that you follow, the number of people that follow you, and the number of posts that you make. But there's lots of other things that we can do as well. We can look at how much you engage with the people, how much those people find you interesting, whether they repost or retweet what you're saying. We look at those and weight those depending on what we believe is actually an influential factor. And through that, we actually create a listing of the top 200 people who are important.
Now, most of that formula was divided by Z. What's the Z component?
The Z is a standardised score, just so that we give everything an equal weighting.
All right. Well, so the Ashton Kutcher phenomenon, for instance, he claimed he got his 1 million followers, didn't he, before anybody else? That doesn't really stand for very much in your formula, right?
Well, what we've noticed is that just because you're popular, it doesn't mean that you're influential. If you have a look at Al Gore, for example, he's got over 500,000 people following him, but he hasn't tweeted anything in over 6 months. So just how influential is he? I would say not at all. Whereas if you look at Jonathan Ross, he actually spends a lot of time engaging with the community. At JCPR, what we believe is that when our clients are looking to work with celebrities, they want to work with the celebrities that are really influential. And we want to make sure that those celebrities can actually endorse a specific segment very well. And that's why it's important.
Into the conversation here. A sign of importance for Twitter, Ruth, do you think?
I think the fact that this has been made by a PR firm shows that companies and brands have really recognised the potential reach of a site like this. But I think it's worth them noticing that it's people who are already famous who are being very successful on Twitter. It's not faceless CEOs.
OK, we've got the Jonathan Ross site up here, Ruth. Let's just see, you've been checking it, I know, all day. Let me just get my mouse over to see what he's saying. He's actually doing quite a bit of not just talking to everybody, right? Just explain this.
I think this is what's key. He spends a lot of his time replying to other people's comments and chatting to them. He's not pushing a particular agenda or trying to push information to people particularly. He's interacting with them, and the more he puts in, the more he gets back from them.
For instance, I've just got, there's a girl there called Megs who wanted a runner's job at his TV show.
Exactly, and he answered and said he didn't think it would be possible, but that's made her day, and she's then gone on to write about it, and that's how his influence then spreads throughout the internet.
And that's part of the secret, Jonny. In your formula, if you interact a lot with a lot of people, that gets you to the top, does it?
It's not just interacting, it's also whether people find what you're saying important. So there's a difference between influence and engagement. If what you're saying is great and people retweeting you a lot, that's really important in our formula.
OK. Thanks for being with us, Jonny and Ruth.
Thank you.
Thank you both very much.